Hi, these are the four key uses of lesson recording in schools. Teacher training, live broadcast, flipped classrooms and revision. A combination of some or all of these has led to significant improvements at schools, and one particular report shows an improvement of 15%. To start with teacher training, this is the main usage within secondary schools and primary schools in the UK. And the way the system is deployed is the teacher has full control of access of who can see the video. So the teacher themselves records the lesson and then uses that in the first instance for self-reflection. If they're happy with that process, they're welcome just to delete the video if they wanted to, but more often than not they will want to share it with their peers. Once the teachers feel comfortable with seeing themselves on video, and sharing it with colleagues, it's normal then to move into more of a peer review or a triad type of situation and involve mentoring and coaching in that particular process. Good lessons you may want to save as best practice, in which case that frees up accessibility to all the teachers in the school. The other feature that gets used quite a lot in schools is the live broadcast. Live broadcast can be events or lessons. Events typically would be perhaps an opening of a part of the school, as an example here with Professor Robert Winston, but more typically recording lessons for maybe students that can't get in, and as such it becomes distance learning, or even pupils that are perhaps excluded from that particular class. So they can watch it by logging on to the internet, so that can be done in the classroom or at home or wherever they happen to be. Flipped classrooms, most of the flipped classroom content these days comes in the form of video, and the system is really easy to create lessons. This was created, the presentation I'm doing now in PowerPoint, with me talking in the bottom right corner. It really is just a press of a red button, you put the content together, and it can be either video that you've taken from the TV or any sort of background material, and to provide to the students to watch. The final use of video in the class is for revision. Students can then watch the lesson, so there's no need for a student to take copious notes during a lesson. They can focus on the content, be far more interactive in the knowledge that the lesson's being recorded, and they can use that for their revision in the exams. This is a big win. Historically very popular in the universities. We have round about 50 universities in the UK using it for this application. So that's about half the universities nearly are using our system for student revision and teacher training, and it's becoming more popular now in the schools. Some users there's around about 25,000 teachers using the system and about 3 million students logging on watching lessons today. This ranges from universities that you can see there through to teacher training schools, secondary schools, independent schools and primary schools. How the system works is really it's a camera, it can be any camera. That lesson is captured, it's stored then in a safe area, usually on the cloud these days, but our software will run on your servers or our servers on the cloud, and then you watch it by logging on to the internet with any internet enabled device, and that can be laptops or mobile phones. Any camera can be used. Here's a teacher setting up a camera in a classroom. We support iPads and iPhones. The latest released software supports web cameras, which have become more popular. They're a lower cost, easier to set up, you don't need to worry about power, but anything can be used. There are camcorders that perhaps you've got, they're fine. The other thing is that a lot of schools quite like the idea of automatically tracking the teacher with a camera, so you plunk it on a motorised device with a lanyard around the teacher's neck and it will automatically track the teacher. There's other ways of doing it, but that's the most popular. Many ways now the webcams have overtaken that, because you can see with a couple of webcams you can see everything in the class. So this is a typical setup with a camera on the teacher, and then of course another camera on the learner. The other nice thing about the software is it records everything that happens on the screen as well. So that is useful for teacher training, but vital for students when they want to look at a lesson for revision. Once it's recorded, it automatically uploads to the cloud, and then once that's prepared, it will automatically be available, subject to passwords and all that sort of thing, to other teachers. Or if you wanted to extend the use for students to use for revision, then you would allow students to log on and view it perhaps through password protection. When you log on, if there's just one camera, you would see just the one camera view, which is clearly that one. But we supply a system that we call an intelligent viewer, which allows multiple screens to be seen at the same time. So the one on the left in this example is showing the teacher view, and the one on the right is the one of the pupils. You just would double click on those to get the full view, and this will run and automatically be synchronized. The way that you would run an observation, you can just move around the video if there's a point you wanted to make, but typically you would use time link notes. If you look in the bottom left of the screen, you just type in, if you see a good starter or some comment you wanted to put to that teacher when you review the lesson with them, you can just type in whatever you feel is a good bookmark, and it will automatically put a timestamp on there, and then when you click back on that, it will jump to that point in the video. So it makes it really quick and easy to have a review meeting appertaining to that lesson. The other way of presenting the screen is for when the students are using it, is perhaps just have a video on the teacher and just the PowerPoint on the screen, in which case the PowerPoint headings will automatically go into a table of contents on the left, and those two are also timestamped, and the student can just jump to the particular slide heading, or alternatively they can search. So anything that's actually written on the PowerPoint or written on the screen, or even spoken, because we have an automatic translation of voice, all that can be searched for across one video or the entire library. And as you go forward, you may build up quite a few hundred or a few thousand lessons. Lessons can also be edited. So if you wanted, for example, to create a library best practice, you can at the end, your top and tail of the video, or take the middle out, as happened on that example of how the editor's used. Perhaps you wanted to just have a separate lesson of good examples of starters, and you could cut and paste a starter out and create your own example of maybe 5 or 6 starters. In terms of the actual system and the supply of that, the one on the left there is the system that schools would go for, primary or secondary, for purely teacher training. So it would be a laptop that we supply with cameras, microphones, and everything that's required to record a lesson, and that would be moved from classroom to classroom, and whenever an observation is required, the teacher would set that up. It takes a couple of minutes to set it up, and then they would log on with their unique username and password, and they're unlimited, so you can have as few or as many teachers as you wanted to log on, and then they can watch their lesson as I've already explained. The system in the middle is an add-on, if you like, and it's a lesson kit. So if you wanted to record more than one room at once, you clearly would need more than one set of cameras, and this is what we call a room recording kit, and you can purchase those from us or create your own. And the one on the right is just illustrating that it can be a wide range of cameras. iPads, there's quite a few teachers wandering around with iPads, and they use 1 or 2 iPads to create a recording of a lesson. In terms of costings, the whole system for teacher training is an annual fee of $4,921. That includes all the training, the setup and so on. Unlimited users, so every teacher would get a log-on and a password, which is very important. And that's a 3-year contract, including support and all the software updates. So there's nothing else to pay other than that. The next upgrade to that, if you felt that you wanted to use it to create flipped classrooms, or perhaps record lessons for revision, would be to go for the system illustrated in the middle there. The red words are saying licenses to record 5 rooms. That enables you to put 5 licenses on your own computers as well. So that being the case, you could then record 5 classrooms at the same time, and you would need to supply the computers, be it laptops or whatever, and the microphones, or we can supply those for you. The top of the tree is the one over on the right, which is a complete site license, which means you can put the software on every device in the classroom, that across campus, That would be PCs, iPads, even the students' iPads. If they wanted to record video themselves and upload that as homework, then that's also capable, but perhaps that's for further discussion. In terms of the price, it's dependent upon the side of the school for the site license, and you can see some indication of pricing there. The exam scores that I mentioned at Winston-Salem is half the class had access to the lesson and the other half didn't, and that was the 15%. So there's been many surveys, that's one of many, but 15% is really significant. Any questions? Please feel free to give me a call or email me on those numbers. Thanks once again for your time, and goodbye.